This project explores the development of an aggregate system that can exercise equivalent degrees of control over figure and ground and use the same parts to produce different field effects that are highly particular despite their reliance on seriality. For us, it is simply not enough to design individual units. By using architecture to enact a spatial version of a social contract, we are designing individual houses and their relationships to other houses. It is in the spaces between units that we are designing for collective life and elevating the community gathered by this housing to the same social importance as the family unit. In order to achieve the urban effect of this project, the units exist on a cell that can tessellate indefinitely. The housing units are designed with panel modularity, using a regulating geometry of isosceles triangles and bisected squares. Based on this geometry, we've developed 6 building components.
The ambitions of our prefab system have to do with understanding that space in between units can be as spatial and programmatic as the interior of a house, resulting in outdoor rooms of different sizes and configurations. These aggregations demonstrate the spatial variability of these combinations when they are applied at an urban scale. By mirroring the fourplexes, different patterns of exterior spaces generate a variety of habitational qualities. Some characteristics, such as avenues, courtyards, urban gardens, start to show in this pattern. Different adjacencies for each pattern create a number of dynamic figural voids. In these configurations, the landscape can tessellate with material variability even if the spatial configurations repeat, doing both spatial and organizational work and moving the scheme from spatial terms to material terms, giving each courtyard its own unique characteristics. The legibility of this project is scale-dependent and changes with zoom distance, perspectival immersion, or as one moves. By zooming out to the urban scale, there is a mutability in the scalar registration of the gaps between units. The implicit social contract produced by the spatial qualities of our project requires that members of society cooperate for social benefits. Residents don't have dominion over their own private plot of land. Instead, they share different scales of exterior spaces that ultimately promote collective life and elevate the community. The variation that we seek on an urban scale for the exterior quality of the units is one that we wish to translate into the interior of the projects as well. The interior quality of a unit with a striated roof and clerestory windows compared to the same unit kept with a folded planar roof can significantly alter the nature of the interior spaces. This strategic variation helps us suppress the repetitive expression of prefab systems.
For our testbeds, we chose to focus on post-mining landscapes. The death of coal sites will lead to the abandonment of large-scale infrastructure that supports these plants, such as railroads, conveyor belts, irrigation systems, etc. These sites are ripe for importation of new energy production, and with it, the reinvigoration of an entire population. The 3 testbeds we selected all have different geographic conditions that allow us to replace them with sites ideal for the production of alternative sources of energy. The first testbed at the oil derricks generates micro-aggregations. The units are able to shift and rotate within their given tessellation cells in order to create different readings of the site. The field here asserts a bistability between the figure and the spaces between, achieving a resolution unique to the microscale. At Jopa Steam, Illinois, the aggregations create a communal scale that demonstrates different orders that are not so formal, but more hierarchical. And lastly, we have our site at Monroe County, which at an urban scale can define the exterior courtyard space between 2 to 3 units, but can also shift scales to define urban effects from the intimate to the territorial, paving avenues, restricted vehicular access, congregational areas, urban gardens, and more. The landscape of our project operates as a romplan, moving you from room to room, be they exterior or interior. Architectural elements such as sliding doors allow that interaction to take place, resulting in a gradient of spatial hierarchies within the outdoor spaces. As one navigates through the mosaic of yards, they can experience communally organized social space at fluctuating scales, promoting collective life and elevating community to the same social importance as the family unit.